The Lone Star State of Texas unveiling the first stretch of the state-funded border wall as Joe Biden's immigration crisis spirals out of control, as we've been talking about. Here with more on his state's efforts to keep their borders safe, Texas Land Commissioner running for Attorney General of the state, George P. Bush. George, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So explain how this would work. I know that as soon as Joe Biden came into office, he pulled the plug on Donald Trump's efforts to build a wall. Now what are you guys going to do?
So one of my first acts of office this year at the Land Commission was to survey the entirety of what the state owned in the borderlands of our great state, over 1,200 miles of stretch. And so as it turns out, over 200,000 acres managed by my agency at or near the border. And in partnership with the Texas Facilities Commission, the governor's office, and the Texas legislature, we went to work knowing that the Biden administration wouldn't do their job. So we were proud to announce on Saturday morning that it was the people of Texas on state-owned land where we finally said enough is enough. Enough of the open borders policy, enough of the record spike in violent crime and drug smuggling that we've seen in border communities in Texas. And we're going to take matters into our own hands, knowing that in the next 3 years, we're not going to get assistance from the federal government on this issue. So we're excited with the first stretch of wall that is being constructed to address one of the most trafficked corridors of violence that you'll find in our entire state, a 2-mile stretch where over 100 migrants come across on a daily basis. And we look to engage with private landowners and ranchers so that they can be a part of this effort as well.
Okay, and you just touched on something there at the end. You're going to engage with private landowners and ranchers because they really hold the key in helping the state of Texas finish that wall.
That's correct. Most of the border is owned privately. Pursuant to Operation Lone Star, which is the governor's initiative to arrest people under criminal trespassing statute, requires engagement with private ranchers, landowners to sign affidavits, and in this case for wall construction, easements that allow us to further construct, because we have a lot of the former contractors during the Trump days. We have the funding from the building behind me to get to work. I think my agency, along with the Facilities Commission, the governor's office, would now like to sign more deals with private landowners so that they can be a part of this. I just wrapped up a week-long tour of the border from El Paso to McAllen, and some landowners are asking, can I shoot? Can I shoot to basically withstand the amount of surge that we're seeing? And of course, we want a more peaceful approach to this, but building walls work. That's what Border Patrol tells us, and we would love for the private community to be a part of this effort.
Now, when you say, can I shoot, you mean, can I use, have a firearm to protect my family, or what do you mean by that?
That is correct. For the, when you talk to farmers and ranchers, a lot of them describe a kinder, gentler illegal immigration pattern in prior generations. But now it has reached such a heightened level of violence and insecurity where farmers and ranchers, including the one where we just built the first part of that wall, are now threatened on their own acreage and around their own property. And that's un-American. And we need a state like ours to step forward and continue this effort.
And speaking of your state, you want to be the Attorney General. You're running for that. Why? Why do you want that job?
Well, I think we need to continue this effort. I think, unfortunately, Ken has been sleeping at the wheel to backstop our law enforcement, Operation Lone Star, which is apprehending, detaining, and jailing illegal immigrants under criminal trespassing statutes. But he hasn't backstopped our local county attorneys and DAs with the necessary resources to get the job done. Look, the federal government has a catch and release policy. In Texas, we need to stand for a catch and jail policy. So I'm going to fight for the border, law enforcement, human trafficking, and restore integrity to this important office.
All right. He's George P. Bush, joining us today from Austin, running for Attorney General. George, thank you very much. Have a great holiday Christmas week.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too.